Hello, this is Jeff Byers. Welcome back, and this is Annie 235, and we're in Module 2, and we're going to finish up the ear today. Why don't you go ahead and load up the ear that I have posted on Module 2 on Canvas, and you can find it right here. You can just right click over it and go to Save Image As and save it to your desktop and then load it up. Or you can go in here and download the references here, but you can easily right click over something and just click Save Image As. You should be able to do that pretty easily. Alright, so let me know if you have any issues or questions about that. As far as loading an image in, let's just say you should probably know how to do that at this point, but if you don't, then you can go to I did this by going to the front view, going to view, image plane, import image, and selecting that image wherever that may be. So mine's on the desktop, so I pulled it in there. It should be actually in the source images folder. And then what we're going to do is you need to have that so as a reference to know how the form of the ear looks and how we should push and pull vertices, right? So I'm going to keep that right there. And right here you can see this is flush with the skin. So this is going to have to stay put. So what I'm going to have you guys do is select the edges, okay? So I'm going to go to edge mode, and select the edges all the way around the ear, like this. Okay? And we're going to leave these three open. And I'm going to hit the W key and just move those back to give the ear depth. Okay, so we're going to do that, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select faces. I prefer to use select faces for this, and we're just going to go ahead and move these faces back. Okay, just to get started. Don't have to do much. Okay, just to get started. And then we're going to go in here, and you can see that we've got this kind of pulled out, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this and this out a little bit more. Not extruding or anything, just pulling these out a little bit. And that naturally pushes the rest of these in, right? So we've got that piece in. So what I'm going to do is with the vertex, I'm going to move this vertex in a little bit. Now we don't want to go past anything. Again, you have to be super careful. So I'm going to move that down and find out what the heck's going on here. I'm going against something here. Not sure what's folding and what's happening here. Go back in here and find out what the heck's going on here. Oh, there's this piece right here. There we go. There's a piece back here that we need to... There we go. Okay, so I have to be careful not to intersect with anything else. Okay, so now I got that piece that sticks out a little bit, which might be too much, obviously, but we can always push and pull these back a little bit. That's a little bit too crazy, I think. Let's pull that back a little bit. Okay. And then we've got pieces that go in here, and this piece comes out a little bit, so I want to see that piece kind of come out a little bit more. We have to push in maybe some pieces in here. Let's go to face mode, maybe push these in a little bit more, like that. There we go. Okay. And then pull this out just a smidge. There we go. And we're going to continue contouring the ear here. So I'm going to take these guys, and these will be pushed in. Okay, you can see that we've got that little piece over here. I'm going to go ahead and take these vertices here that we have here, and we hit the Q key, so it makes it a little bit easier. and go ahead and select those and move those out a little bit. And we're going to move those forward a little bit, like back a little bit, so we have that ear kind of going in a little bit, like that. Okay, that looks pretty good, because that hole kind of goes in, and that's pushed in a little bit. So now we can take this whole piece here, these vertices, you see, and let's go ahead and let's move those in a little bit more. So I'm going to select those guys and just move those like this in, like that. Okay, and then we're going to take these and move them forward so they're offset a little bit right there. Okay, move them back a little bit. It looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take these guys right here and I'm going to move those forward a little bit like that, so you really don't see that hole. Okay, alright, so that looks pretty good, like that. And then I'm going to fill that hole up. So I'm going to go into selection mode. You can see we've got a pretty nice shaped ear now. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close this up. So I'm going to go to append a polygon tool, and I'm going to click on one side and then the other and hit enter, and hit the G key, select one side and click on the other side and hit enter, hit the G key, click on one side, select the other side and hit enter. Here we go. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to select on the faces here, and we're going to go ahead and we need to shape this a little bit more. It's a little bit off a little bit, so I'm going to go in here and just shape that, give it a little more of a roundness, like that. Excuse me. And then we're going to go into these pieces here, and we're going to go ahead and extrude that. I probably want to make this a little bit rounder looking right here. Just move that down a little bit and over a little bit. There we go. So now we got a nice ear canal. It's going to go ahead and select that. And now we're going to go in here and do Control E. Okay. Right. And we can use the arrow manipulator for the arrow for the ear canal. We're going to push that in. We do not want anything to kind of get in the way. And I'm also going to rotate so you don't see that right away. And push that in a little bit. So there we go. So at a certain angle, you're not going to see that hole anymore. So we're going to do one more. Control E. Pull it back. Scale it down a little bit like that. And move it back. So now it's just no way you can see the end of it. Okay. Alright, so, and plus if light gets in there, it'll be totally dark. Alright, cool. And so just to finish it off, make it look a little more round, I'm going to take these two guys here just by themselves, make sure I don't select anything else, and just move them back a little bit like this. There we go. Okay, cool. So when I hit the 3 key, you notice that we get a nice little round area there. That looks good. I like that. Again, we're just doing simple movement and just kind of shaping it a little bit. And it's starting to look pretty close. You know, we've got a little puffiness there. I got something going on there. And let's go ahead and fix that. Vertices that need to be moved around or fixed, or something's going on. Let's hit the 3 key. There's some pinching there. Don't like that. Not sure what that's coming from. So I need to double check that ridge right there. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do with that is just select all the vertices, right? And to fix that, we've got something going on here. I'm not exactly sure if that's just a polygon. Let's go in here and look at what's happened here. Maybe an edge got extruded and it shouldn't have. So I'm going to delete that. That was a mistake I must have made. Okay. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to make sure nothing happens when I do that. And delete that one. And we'll delete that one. There we go. And we will delete this one. There we go. And the next thing I'm going to do, because I probably had double vertices there, I'm going to go ahead and select all the vertices here. and go into Edit Mesh and Merge. And then in here I'm going to have it a very high, or excuse me, a very low threshold, so 0.0001. Click on Merge, and that should take care of any issues that that are left. So I'm going to hit there we go, and that's what I'm looking for. Awesome. Again, this is a stylistic ear, so I'm not looking for anything photorealistic, right? As far as an ear goes, we just need to know if the hair goes back around the ear, that we know that we can see some definition there. Okay. All right. Cool. So that looks pretty good, and the next thing we need to do is continue to add dimension in this ear. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is continue with the ear by selecting, because this is going to be flush right here with the ear. I can't do much with this. That's going to be flush. But the rest of this here, we're going to go ahead and continue with extruding, right? There we go. And just realize that this is going to be attached to the skin, skin, and skin. There's a big area here, as you can see, that is attached to the skin. It goes from all the way right up here, almost to the top, to the bottom here. You can see that. That's all got to be blended in to the skin. That's why the ear is tough to do. And there's some other things I'm going to do here to kind of recreate this little bump right here, which I think is really super important. Let's go in here and add more depth, right? So Control E, right? And moving the arrow like that. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then we have to continue that, right? Because the ear pulls away from the ear quite a bit right here. It's interesting. And plus we have, I left you guys with another right here. This is great because you can see how this is the back of the ear, and this is actually pushing away from the ear itself. So you have to kind of model that form around, and then you can go back in and make those changes in Maya. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and continue extruding down. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue. Control E, and this time I'm just going to use the R key and just scale that in like that. Alright, so if I hit the 3 key now, you can see that we've got a nice looking ear, and we can pull it away. And this is going to be the attachment area where we're going to actually attach this to the model. Okay, we're going to pull this way far away. I know that it looks really strange, but it's going to help attach. It's going to help us attach it to the head. Okay, so I'm going to hit the 1 key. Alright, with that done, then we need to get our oh, let me do one more thing so we can get that bump right there. So I'm going to click on this edge right here and this edge right here, and we're going to move that. Make sure you don't have anything else selected. We're going to move that back a little bit, and then we're going to take this vertex right here and move that back a little bit, and you're going to hit the 3 key, and you can see we've got that little bump, and that helps sell the ear a little bit more, even though it's stylistic. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, that looks nice, and then what we're going to do is hit the 1 key, and we're going to go in here, and I need to pull in the head where we started. There we go. I think that's it. And we're going to go ahead and get this guy in there. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where we go with this. So what I have to do is I have to weld some of these vertices together. So I'm going to start with this guy right here. These need to be welded together and put into one. So let me show you how we do that. So I'm going to go ahead in here, and we're going to go ahead and select vertices, and I'm going to weld this one to this one, and then this one to this one, and then I've got to combine the ear. And you can see I'm going to have to do the same thing with this one too as well. I can go from this one to this one, from this one to this one. Okay, so that's the start, right? I'm going to hit the Q key, get out of that tool, go back into selection mode. I'm going to go ahead and select this head, select the head, and shift select the ear, and we need to go be in object mode. So make sure you're up in here, up in the object mode, and let's go ahead and select those two again. All right, now we're just going to place the ear in there. Now I might be off kilter, and we can move the ear around later, but let's go ahead and let's get this angled and situated correctly, because right now it's not angled right. Before I do anything, let's go ahead and angle this and just get this, get this situated so it looks like it's going to fit the ear a little bit better. Here we go. Okay. And from the side views, take a look at what we got. That looks pretty good. Right. And then we're going to go in here and combine the two together. And I'm going to go in and just, you can either hold that space bar like this, mesh combine, or you could go in here and combine it this way. You have to have these two pieces combined before you can weld, target weld, okay? So now I'm going to hold the shift key and go into target weld, and then we're going to start target welding. Okay, so it makes sense. We're going to target weld these two together, okay, and we are going to target weld these two together, and then target weld these two together, and let's see here, and we're going to target weld this one. Okay, and then this one. You can see how what we're doing here. So far, so good. And I'm going to target weld this guy here, and then target weld this guy up here, and this guy up here. Again, be careful what you're doing. See what happens? And that's no good. So we gotta just kind of, there we go, be patient with this, and target weld that one, and we got one left. Come on, where are you? It's hard, and we're gonna have to do it on the same one here, and that's okay. There we go. So that's kind of where we're at. It's not going to be perfect all the time, and it may not look good. But you know, we'll move vertices around and figure this thing out. So the idea is we got it. We can add some more divisions if we need to get that to look right. But the idea is we got it connected to the head. Let's go ahead and hit the 3 key, and you get the idea. Okay. So in here we're going to go ahead and select the edge here, and we need to separate this a little bit more, and maybe scale it in just a little bit. There we go. Define it a little bit more. You have to be careful not to go too far in, and if you go too far in, then what we'll do is we'll take this vertex here and just move it back and relax it out a little bit more if we can. There we go. And we'll move this one back like that. Okay. The ear's hard. It's tough. It's a tough one. Let's see here. Let's Let's go back to 1 and see what we got here. It's kind of, let's go ahead and there we go. Smooth this, kind of even these out a little bit. Okay. I'm going to look at the ear that I have right here, and this one right here. You can see how much it sticks out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. And you can tweak as you like, as you wish, just to get that shape a little bit better, so it's not stretching or looking like it's stretching so much. And be careful, obviously, when you make these changes, so you don't have any pinching going on, so keep those pretty separate. And if you make any big strokes, you can go back and fix it. Don't worry about having triangles in the back of the head. That's pretty normal. Just try to keep the shape about what you have. You have it, so it's nice and round, feels about right. Just keep it as shapely as you can. We will be using hair. I mean, we're going to be modeling hair, and to cover most of the stuff anyway. Okay. Alright, the only part I don't really like is this part where it does come to a point in both areas. We got a triangle on both sides. But there are some things we could try to do, is add an edge loop all the way across if we wanted to, all the way to the back. But then I'd have to go all the way down here. So anyway, I think that's okay for now. I think we're good. Right? So we'll continue to keep modeling and finessing. Okay? Alright, cool. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, let me go ahead and let me see what we got for materials here. Not exactly sure what we have for material on this. Okay, we have a lot of history, so I'm going to delete history. Okay, we really don't, yeah, there is AI standard surface 4. I'm going to type in face on here, face texture. So we do have a texture on there. So what I'm going to do is, the ear's got its own texture now, so I'm going to go ahead and add that existing one to face texture. There we go. So now it matches, and let's take a look now. It seems to blend in pretty good. There we go. Alright. Okay, so, you know, always keep working on it. Also, want to fix this. It's not really broken, but alright, so if we ever bring this into another software package, it will have a problem with this open-ended piece here. So it's trying to find a way to get this closed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these edges here, and I'm going to select, let's see, how many do we have here? And let's select these edges here, see if this will work. Okay. Make sure nothing else is selected. I always hit the 4 key to make sure nothing else is selected. And we're going to go ahead and scale, extrude these, and then scale them in. And it doesn't really matter how we connect these. They just need to be connected. So let's see how far we can go with this. So I'm going to go ahead and just go into a target weld and go into vertex and start target welding. And see what we come up with. There we go, and we got some crossover here. That's not fun. What do we got left here? Alright, so I'm going to hit the Q key and just kind of move these vertices around and see what we can see here. Okay, so these... Okay, so how would this work? This would be extruded. Yeah, this won't... This isn't matching. So no matter what I do, it's not going to look right. So let's go in here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and attach these two, get at least this part done. So I'm going to target weld this one to this one. I don't know what the heck's that. I didn't say that. There we go. There we go. That's good. Alright, so I guess we could do this one to this one. It's still a quad. We're going to have a triangle no matter what, so we can fill that hole. Like I said, this is inside the mouth, doesn't really matter. Hit the Q key and go into object mode, and let's go into append to polygon tool and just fill that up. There we go. Whoops. We need to hit enter. There we go. And that works. So when we hit the 3 key, there we go. So that is completed. Awesome. So there we are. Inside of the mouth, inside of the nose. The head is finished. Yay! Okay. So let's go ahead and get everything set to mirror over. Alright, let's get everything out of here. And I'm not sure where this one is here. Alright, so now we need to put it together, and that'll be it. And then you can turn in what we have. Alright, so let's go in here. Let's go ahead and select it and delete by type history, freeze transformations, and center pivot. Alright, so we need to center pivot that. And let's go ahead and push that over to the sides. Look at the front view here, and we want to make sure all these are pushed over to the side. Let's go push that over. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the D key. Let's go into snap and just snap that over. There it is. So with that done, again I held the D key down. Okay, and then I've got the snap to grid on. And we already have issues with this, okay, with the mouth. So let's go ahead. This little trick I learned. I'm going to click on the edge. I'm going to hit the Q key and double click on the edge, and it should select everything around. That means up and around. The only thing we don't need to have selected is this part. Like I'm going to hold down the control and just deselect that. So all that we have selected from the front view, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, is if I hit the 4 key, you can see that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into a selection. I'm going to go to select tool, and I'm going to convert selection to vertices. Okay, I'm going to turn that off, and go into the move tool, reset the tool, go into move settings, and turn off retain component spacing. And a little trick I learned is I'm going to turn the grid snap on, and I'm going to snap it out. Just pull it out and just bring it back again, and it's perfectly aligned. Okay, so everything that you see here is now perfectly aligned to the y-axis, or excuse me, the x-axis. There we go. Nice little trick. Okay. You got to remember you got to turn that back on. All right, so turn that retains component spacing back on. All right. So that is a quick, easy way to get everything aligned in the center. Okay, so we can mirror it over. So with that done, now we're ready to mirror our head over. Go back, and let's try this one without merging. Do not merge borders. There it is. It worked. Okay. I think that's just the threshold of merging the vertices, that it's too small or something like that. So anyway, I still have to merge the vertices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really thin line all the way down, like really thin, like you see here, and zoom in. Make sure you don't have anything else selected. Okay. Ooh, that's not good right there. So let's see what we got there. Something is not right. I'm not sure what it is. There it is. Wow. What does that look like when I hit the 3 key? Yeah, it's okay. So back to 1, and we want to get rid of these two. So I'm going to hold down the control key and deselect those. There we go. That looks good. Okay, okie dokie. So that's good, and so now what we want to do is go to the merge tool. So merge, and we want a very high 0.0001, or actually say low threshold, and merge. There we go. And so we're going to know right away if this merged properly. Now you know why I don't really like that mirror tool that well. Hit the 3 key. Here we go. And that's what we have so far. Not too bad. Okay. And of course we can make adjustments with that as well. So I think the ear turned out pretty good. Nice. Looks pretty good. I mean, with hair and stuff, it'll look really nice. Okay, so the eye. Yeah, what are we gonna do with that? So I need to have another one. So I got that reference. Go ahead and duplicate that. Looks like she's a little cross-eyed. Okay, anyway. So Control D and move it. There we go, right there. And we're going to go and turn off snap. There we go. So that one is moved over. Let's see if I move that over just a little bit. Okay, yeah, let's go back. 3.328. So I'm going to go Control C, right? And click on this one and do Control V and put a negative in front of it, and that should space it exactly like the other one. Since we mirrored it over, it should be perfect. There we go. So perfect. That's what I want you guys to turn in. So in the next video will be how do you present this to me, and that'll be the next one, and the renders that I need from you and the screenshots that I need from you, and then I'm going to do the turn-in instructions, and you guys are good to go. Alright, I'll see you in the next part of this video, my lecture video tutorials, and I'll see you then.